Alright, welcome back. So in this tutorial I intend to finish everything if I can. So the first thing I'm going to do here is the lip going up and down. So the reason for that is when you do this kind of like smiley face or angry face, sometimes you can see the teeth, but that doesn't mean you're opening the jaw, because if you do that, the teeth are going to be separated. And what I want to have is when the lips are open but the teeth are still closed. That requires some new blend shape. Let me grab my previous blend shapes and Ctrl G to group them together so that I can have a shorter list. I'm going to call this one facial expression so far, so that I can temporarily put them together there. Anyway, let me add a new target. I'm going to call this one upper lip open, or yeah, up maybe. So I'm gonna use my sculpting to make sure that I'm using grub and make sure I'm using the surface fall off so that I can just open it by dragging it up. Okay, and when I drag it up, it seems like making the lip also flat. So let me just drag it back. Keep the volume, drag the volume back a little bit to maintain the volume here. Alright, now I'm not sure if this is good or not. So I'm gonna actually try the combination with my smiley face. I'm gonna use object mode, drag it up, maybe outwards. Now that doesn't feel like quite nicely, so I'm gonna go back to sculpting tool again and maybe fix what's happening here. Now of course this can be also fixed by using corrective shapes. I just don't really bother doing that anymore. I just need it to be more or less like this, so that when I do smile I can open the lip to see the teeth. Alright. So this is the result I'm looking for, and I'm gonna do the other guy the other direction. This is gonna be the lower lip down. Okay, same thing, just use the sculpting tool and grab it down like that. So some fixing here. I'm losing more volume again, so let me go to the middle part of the lip just to bring some of the volume back. Okay. Again, I don't really know if it works, so I need to test it one more time. Just like how I test the open, I can also test the close, the lower lip close the same way. Try to see how the combination of that with my other expressions work together. If they do work together, it seems like it's being flattened too much. So I'm gonna fix that. Go into the sculpting tool, use grab, and maybe drag that part down. And also, I think it's going out too much. And push it in. think I'm losing some area I'm getting from the lip. All right. Let me zero that out. You can also test it and see how it works with the angry face, and seems like it's having too much bumpiness there, so let me smooth that out. You know, just trying to make them work together as good as possible, so that I don't have to do corrective shapes if I don't want it to. Okay. Alright. So that's gonna be the blend shapes I created for those two. And let me zero out my corner controls. Also zero out the facial expression controls, so that I can just extract those blend shapes into left and right part. Let me grab my model and then use my blend divider and just use no controller and no specified base shape. Just create plane. Grab those two, Control G and center pivot, and just make it smaller. Oops. Do that, Control G, center pivot, and drag it inwards. And I'm gonna make shape. Okay, two shapes will be created for me. Let me grab those two geometries, right click on my expression, add selection as target. And then I just need to rename those properly. Oh. Shouldn't group it. So this guy will be called the right side, and the other guy will be called the left side. Alright, after adding those, I just need to go delete all the nodes I created. I don't know why I have a top one, but yeah. So now those two can do right and left side of the lip going up and down. So with that, I can combine them with my other expression controls to get more exciting or interesting expressions. Okay, so that's the upper lip goes up. Let me do the lower lip goes down. The same process. First create planes, grab two planes, Control G, center pivot, and make them go closer, and then make shapes. Alright, and then grab those two new geometries and right click on the facial expression, add selection as target, and then I can go ahead and delete those guys, and then go back and change naming. So that's gonna be lower lip down for the right side. That's gonna be the left side. Alright. For those two, you can either delete or keep those, doesn't matter, I don't really need those two things. Let me create controllers. I'm gonna go duplicate the one I use for the nose. Okay, and I need to do some changing. I don't want this controller to be able to go to the negative directions. Let me grab those three vertical ranges and make them 0.5 on the y direction, and also move them up, also 0.5 amount, so they're now squeezed into the upper range of it. And for the last one, this bottom one, I'm just gonna delete it. Now what I got is a controller like this. Let me actually select my nose controller, grab its group, and just make it smaller. And I can also make this guy smaller. Okay. And I'm gonna rename my guy. Search for nose. I replace that with upper lip. Okay. and then Control D to duplicate it and scale it to negative directions. And I'm gonna also do a search and replace name. I'm gonna search for upper lip and replace with lower lip. Alright, that's my controllers. Now to make the controllers actually control the blend shapes, I just need to do some facial expressions. So that's gonna be the mouse control facial expression that I did here, and I can keep doing others in the same expression. So the expression dot upper lip R up, this guy will be equals to my upper lip controller. It's a translation y multiplied by 1 minus clamp from 0 to 1 of the translate x, and edit. Oh, something's wrong. Let me do that again. So this guy's this attribute, the up attribute will be equals to the controller's translation y times 1 minus clamp. For clamping from 0 to 1, we're clamping the translate x of the controller, and edit. Oh, still getting some really bad result. Sorry about that. So upper lip up, those shouldn't be wrong. I don't know why I was copying the shape name. Replace that with that. Alright, that does it. So now my controller will go up and down like this. At least one shape is being controlled. The other guy will be almost the same. Oops, I didn't copy everything here. So this guy is going to be controlling the left side. I'm going to use the negative values. So from -1 to 0, and then multiply that by -1 and edit. Alright, now I have up and down, and I can control how much. Oh, I can also go negative directions, which I don't want it to go. Even I have changed my range. That's because my controller still have that limit transformation from -1 to 0. I'm just going to change that to 0. Let me just do the same thing for my other guy at the bottom. And for the other guy to work, I just need to copy my code and paste it here. Then the thing I have to change is lower lip down and down, and that's gonna be the lower here and lower here, and also lower here, and eventually this one also has to be lower, and edit. Alright, so now I have my controller to control the lip going up and down. And I can control them, separately or asymmetrically. Alright, so that's the lip going up and down part. They're needed because I can then create my smile face with the lip open, and I can even open them in a different ways just to make the facial expression looks more interesting. Anyway, so that is that. And another thing my lip are supposed to be able to do is curling in and out. So let me do that here real quick. I'm gonna go for upper lip curl in. The curling in part will be like this. I'm gonna go for a sculpting tool, and because it's curling in, what's going on? My My voice is getting weird. Anyway, let me just drag this part in using grab. The bottom one in, and the top one going down. Right. It's like it's rotating inwards. Now, some people might find out that this could be easier to use traditional modeling to rotate, because that's actually, you can use rotation, or you can just, if you think you can do better with sculpting, by any means do it. Don't know why it's not allowing me to drag this little part. Come on, let me drag this one. Let me go to self-selection and change that to surface 2 so that I can drag it down. I don't know why it doesn't allow me to drag that little part. Anyway, so what I'm trying to achieve here is making the lip curling in like that. When you do that, this part is probably gonna rotate out just to maintain the volume. Okay. So it's like it's actually curling inwards. Or more or less, or also like you're collapsing your lip, more or less. Alright, so that's the curling in. And one more for upper lip curl out. Alright, and the curling out will be let's go up here first. Am I freezing this part? No. Let me just unfreeze those area, making sure. And what's on the inside we'll try to rotate out. Basically it's the opposite of curling in. So it's like it's trying to rotate out too. Now curling out is something that you cannot do too much with your lip. You can try to push it. But you have to move it too. So probably also gonna have this kind of shape. So it is kind of rotating, but also moved. That's just the way it is. So that's the curling out. And moving on to one more. Lower lip curl in. Just repeating the same process. Sculpting 2. Grab. Let's make it rotate in, and maybe those parts too. let me also smooth that part. So it's like curling in. Okay, and moving on to the final ones, lower lip curl in, curl out. Okay, and the curl out here is also quite difficult because it just doesn't feel like it's curling out sometimes. Just trying to push the inner side of the lip out, and the outside going down. So it's like rotating out. Okay, so that's the curling in and out for both up and down, and I'm gonna break those 4 blend shapes into 8 so that they have left side and right side separated. Let me grab the upper lip curl in, drag it all the way up, and make sure that I don't have anything else on, and make break the blend shape into 2 parts. Create plane, center pivot, drag them in, and make blend shape. Okay, 2 shape will be created. Grab those 2 and add selection as target, and let me rename that. So right curl in, and the other guy is left curl in. Okay, and then I just need to delete those guys, and let me take a look. Okay, could have done this with more blending because like it's twisting too much over there. So I may choose to go back and make my division plan further away, just to you know, make it better, because it's like twisting a lot in the middle. But maybe you can do that. I'm not gonna go back because the time is getting really long. I hate it to be really long. But sometimes, you know, when you're doing blend shape on face, it's just never ends. So let me do another guy. This guy, curl out, and drag it up, and create plane, and group them together. Center pivot. I guess I'm grouping the blend shape. I'm gonna group actually my planes and drag them closer. Maybe not as close as the other last time, and make blend shapes. Okay, so 2 more are created, and that's going to be renamed to right curl out and left curl out. Alright, that's 2 more, and moving on to the next. So it's all repetitive in this case. Let me turn off the edit. Oh, I don't need the other group I created. So now it's going to be the lower lip curl in, center pivot, and make it smaller, and create plane. Oh, actually just make blend shapes. Alright, so 2 more. Add to the list, and just delete those things. Okay, and of course rename those. Lower lip, right side curling, and left side. Alright, final ones, the lower lip curling out. Grab the model and create plane, grab 2 planes, Control G, center pivot, and make them go closer. Oh, I need that. So make blend shapes. Alright, those 2 will be added to the list. And I can delete the shape now. Rename will be again right and left. So now what I did is I just break those 4 blend shapes I created earlier for upper and lower lip curling in and out from 4 basic ones to now 8 ones that have separated the left and right side of the lip. The original ones, I can just leave them there. Maybe I can group them together and call those original shapes, lip curl shapes, just for future reference. If I want to go back and do some tweaking, let me just zero that out. And those ones are the ones actually gonna be used. Okay, so I need controllers. This time I need actually 2 controllers duplicate from the nose, and I don't change anything. So this is gonna be the nose will be replaced to lower lip, actually upper lip. This is going to be controlling the curl. Okay, and duplicate this guy and just search for upper and replace with lower. Alright, I have 2 controllers. Again, their range shouldn't be changed. I just need to use those 2 to control the curling. Alright, let me go to the expression editor again and go grab my mouse control. Making sure that I have the non-clashing naming. So this time it's going to be Sophia facial expression again, and let's do the first one. The upper lip R curling in. Okay. Now this guy will be equals, first of all, clamp the translation Y to positive 0, 1, and the controller, which is this guy, it's translation Y, and multiply that by the flipped version 1 minus clamp of the translate X from 0 to 1. Let me edit it. So what this does is now when I drag it up, the curling is gonna go, oh, you know what, that's gonna be actually the curling out because the curling in should be the other direction. Right, so that's the left side, that's the right side. The left side is really similar. So the change will be, of course, from right to left. Y will be the same, X will be flipped, so -1 to 0 and times by -1. Okay, and that's gonna be the top actually. And then for the going down, right, let me copy this code that I created for the curling out. Now here I just need to change out to in. And also I'm gonna clamp that from -1 to 0 for Y. And that's probably everything I have to do. Of course the value will be negative, so I need to also time that by -1. 1 multiplied by that and add it. Oh, something is wrong. I'm not sure what that is. That. Okay. So now I can go up and down, I can go left and right to eliminate the other side. So I can now do any combination of those lip curling. Alright, that's the upper lip control. For lower lip control, it's the same thing. I just need to copy those 4 lines and paste them there and change upper to lower. And also here. So a lot of upper change to lower work. Kind of like repetitive, but still faster than trying to drag nodes, actually. Lower. Here, upper to lower. Alright, let me then add it. Okay, so now my lower one should be able to control, and it seems like I'm flipped. That means I just need to change the in to change out to in and change in to out. Oh, you know what? I kinda actually need this. So this is nothing wrong. The thing that is wrong is my controller here. I need to flip it actually. So flip that on the y direction. That way it feels more intuitive. Okay, so now I have the curling, I have the lip going up and down. It's probably curling too much. Yeah, so they don't actually work together sometimes, and that means I need corrective shape if I want to really make them perfect. I leave that for you to do, but because it's just too repetitive, I don't even have that much of a patience to go through everything here. But yeah, so you just need to create corrective shape for that and that, so that they work together. Oftentimes, even without the corrective, you just don't go all the way, and they should work. Right. Oh, let me change that back. Okay. And now I can create some really interesting shapes now already, using all those ones that I just created. Yeah, and maybe here. And maybe do something like that, or like this. That. Right, now I'm curling this part out more, so that it's like she's really unhappy or getting annoyed by something. Anyway, let me go grab my controllers and zero them out. So that's the primary ones that are important, but there are other things that we can do that just cannot be done using the combination of those blend shapes. Things like doing a duck mouse, or blowing air, or a grimace faces, and those are the 3 things we did in class 2. So let me do them, those real quick. A new target here, I'm going to call this one mouse, actually lip. I'm going to call this kiss. Now this is specifically for the kissing animation or things like that. So what I'm going to do here is first make my brush bigger enough and drag them closer. Oh, this is harder to do. Let me just go really close. Oh, that's why. So I need to change the symmetry to volume, so that the fallout to volume, so I can control both equally. Right. drag the surroundings also inwards. And then because of that pushing, it's trying to also reach out. And then the lip opens. And that's when I actually change the fallout back to surface. Now you're trying to create a nice arc in the middle when you're doing that. Oops. Now you can take a look at it. It's like this. Okay. Can also drag the bottom one forward just to enhance that reaching out kind of posing. Okay. So that's the lip kissing, and the controller will be maybe a slider here too. So Control D to duplicate this guy. I'm gonna make it smaller and position it maybe there. I'm gonna call this guy search and replace name. I'm gonna search for cheek and replace with kiss. Oh, you can name it anything. I just don't really want it to be, you know, restricted. You can name it whatever. But the control, you can actually just use the connection, or you can do expression. That's all up to you now. Since you were doing expression all the time, let's just do expression here too. Alright, so the new facial expression will be, it's called lip kiss, right? So, oops, I just need to copy this guy actually. That lip kiss will be equals to the controller here dot translation Y and add it. Now I can use this controller to do that, but when I go to the other direction, it's gonna be like this, which is pretty bad. So you can either just limit the translation Y, or you can actually define the shape, which is a collapsing face. If you wanted to. Let me actually do that and see how that looks like. So I need to clamp my guy to 0.1 and 0, 1 and edit. So the negative direction, I can maybe call it lip collapse. But you know, the collapse can be done using the curling. That's why I'm not sure if I should do that or not. But I can just, you know, create this shape and go use my sculpting tool and just do a little tweaking there to make the collapsing better. Maybe going inward more. Okay. And with all those three on, that's one of the magic that my blend divider can do. Is it's just all it concerns is about the shape you're getting. So I'm just gonna use that, create planes, and grab those together, Ctrl G and center pivot, and drag it inwards and make shapes. So now, oh, why am I doing that? I was being stupid. So I don't need that, sorry. I don't need to make the shapes or the planes. That's not, I don't need to break that up into left and right. So this shape is what I want. I just need to Control D to duplicate this guy to give me a shape, and right click, add selection as target, and then I can go delete the shape. I duplicate it, and that's gonna be the actual lip collapse, and I can delete the original one now. So yes, you can use the previous shape you're creating, you create it as guide or starting points. So now my new lip collapse will be that. And this guy will be equals to the negative direction of the translation y. Let me copy the naming. Equals to -1 times the clamping from -1 to 0. Oops. For my translation y, and add it. Alright, so now I have the lip collapsing, and the kissing, the same thing. It's like the opposite of kissing, right? So it's like I can combine those together into one control. Okay, so that's that part. And one more thing I can do is the blow. So let me go to sculpting 2. Make sure that I have a new target created. I'm gonna call this guy lip blow. Gonna grab my model and use sculpting 2 and use grab. And we are blowing. Oops, I think I did something really bad. Again, your change that back to volume, because you have air in your mouse, right? It's trying to hold them. That's why they're getting thinner again. Because of that, I think I'm checking it out. And let me just make tweak the contour of the lip, make it look better. Right, and then I need air on the cheek here. Now you can go really crazy about this part if you really want to make it that exaggerated, especially when you're doing cartoony characters. This can be exaggerated a lot, depending on what kind of character you're building, right? So you can be creative about those things. My character is like cartoony, but not very cartoony. It's not like very squishy kind of you know, effect. So I'm not gonna push it too far. Maybe just to the side more. All right. I can actually keep this like this so that I can, if I wanted to, I can use the keys to, you know, do the blowing part. So I don't have to push them in too much. Anyway, so that's that now. I just need to then break this up into two sides, because sometimes it is supposed to be asymmetrical. Let me grab those two and make sure I don't have others, and create plane. Grab those two, Control G, and center pivot, scale them in. Maybe that's too close. And grab my model, make shapes. Alright, so that's two more. Let me grab those two and add selection as target. So you see that in those facial expression series, all we do is just adding new and new ones and new ones. Now we have added like a lot in this tutorial already. So this is going to be the lip blow right side. The strength of blend shape is that you can create a ton of, you know, shapes. Now, will they work or not together? Work together or not is not guaranteed. So sometimes you need corrective shapes. Okay. So edit controllers for that. It's gonna be something I can borrow from maybe this guy here. So it's gonna be search and replace from upper lip to blow. And to apply the control, the facial expression, let me just separate those in by using space, using some gap. This is going to be the right blow, right? This guy will be equals to the controller dot translation y multiplied by 1 minus clamp, and we're clamping from 0 to 1 on the tx. Add it and copy this guy. The left blow will be clamping the negative direction of the x, and because it's negative, I have to time that with -1 so that it's flipped back. Now I can use this guy to do the blowing. Okay. Okay. So that is those two things, and then we can move on to one last thing I want to do, but there are more things if you wanted to do. You can create specific shapes for just that specific facial expression pose that the director really wants, if it's really hard to do with the controller that gives you already. Anyway, let me just do one more. This guy will be the mouse grimace. Okay, I use my sculpting. I'm gonna use grab, change that fall up tab to surface so I can just grab things around. Okay, holding down shift maybe to smooth that if that looks good. So this one is probably one of the tricky ones that you will feel some frustrations and difficulties when you're doing this. So just be patient. The problem you will have is if you go to 5, you see that the geometry is not really tweaked properly. So that's why I oftentimes go without the texture just to tweak the, the geometry and make it as good as possible, because I know that that's the underlying structure for everything that is happening to this model, and those things has to be correct in order to get a proper result. Oops. Use grab. Let's take a look. What is that? Take a look at the vertex that is happening here. Maybe I'm dragging those too much. Just even out their positioning and you should be good to go if you really try to do that. If you don't do, only using bigger sculpting brushes would be a bit hard sometimes. So those should go up. And that's actually also a test of the model, because sometimes some modeler, if they don't do rig or don't know rig at all, they will just model the inside in a very weird way that is shifted. The loops are shifted. and also the shape inside is wrong, then it's unriggable, or it's really hard to make it look nice when you do those kind of expressions that requires the exposure of the inside. Okay, so if you're a modeler, just be aware of those things. It's gonna make it easier for the rigger to do this part, which I guarantee you that a lot of modelers just don't do this, and it ends up really painful for the rigger. And if you're a student, you are probably gonna be the rigger of your character anyways, so it's better to make your life better in the future if you can. So then I can have the texture back and do some more fine-tuning of the shape around it. Depending on what kind of workflow you're having, right? When you open the mouse, you will see that the texture is cropped too here in the middle. Now you cannot do that very easily when you're texturing the model with the mouse, the lip closed. It's just not possible to do it. Now you have the ability to open it. It will be actually easier to just fix the texture here after you have rigged the mouse open and close. You can open the mouse, export the model to Substance Painter or Mari or whatever package you're using to texture it, to fix what's the inside of the mouse. Right. Okay, I think this is pretty much there. Just take this apart a little bit. And maybe I can smooth out here. Alright, so that is it. Okay, and for this guy I can also just break this up into two parts. So let me grab my model and go for, again, blend divider. Check out those, create plane, grab the two plane, Control G, center pivot, scale those in, and this time maybe I want to make them go in more, and make blend shapes. Now how close those two planes will be, sometimes depending on what kind of shape you want to use and how separated you want them to be, so it's different every time. And this time I want them to be separated more, so I make those two planes gets really close, so that they're really different. There is a sharp transition between those two. Okay, add selection, add target, and delete those guys. Now I have the left side and the right side. Sorry, the other way. So this is the right side, and the other guy is the left side. Alright, and I need another controller for that. Control D and drag it inwards. And modify, search, and replace names. Right here, I'm gonna look for flow to grimace. And final control. Here I can just go copy these and just changing the naming. Oh, got some arrow. let me copy the thing here. It's actually a mouse instead of just that. Okay, that should be it. Now I can use this guy to do those two differently, and with the combination of the other ones I can get some interesting things. Okay, although again, it is not guaranteed that the combination of those things are gonna be working, and that's actually not what we are going to pursue, right? We're not needing everything to work together, more or less. It's more like, you know, those specifically useful shapes are gonna be useful when you're creating the facial expressions. Alright, that's gonna be it for the entire facial expression tutorial, and also this entire rig. More things you can do here will be like organizing the hierarchy so that you can put everything back to the rig group. Let me grab all the things on the outside and Ctrl G to group them together. Facial rig GRP, and put that back to the Sophia rig GRP. And you can make it follow if you wanted to. Grab that and the group, do rigging constraint, parent constraint, so that way everything will follow. And what else? Yeah, color coding. So your controllers are now all blue, but you can actually give them different colors by grabbing the controller, go to the translation node, and underneath the display, and change the drawing override, turn it on, and give it a color, like a red color. And you can give the other side a blue color, which is somewhere here, right? So that way your controller looks more easier to see which one is which. When the arm is getting really close with each other, the color will tell you which side is which. Okay, that's it. That's gonna be the entire tutorial of the body rig. Although this is not a very the purpose is not creating a super advanced rig. It's more like teaching some of the basic things that our rig have. Blend shapes, and you know, basic IKFK, stretching span. Maybe we will do some stretching up arm later on, and node-based way of manipulating stuff, and expression way, sculpt deformer. The thing we didn't mention, which you will also see in a lot of very good rigs, are ribbon, joint-based facial expression, twisting joints, which I don't have yet, and that's probably it. Other things more advanced than that, maybe they can create, make the controller slide across the surface, make the controller stick on the surface. You know, those kind of things, but they're not the core of the facial expression, so I didn't mention, you know, every little detail, and I'm gonna move those parts to, you know, the advanced classes. Okay, all right, that's gonna be it. Thanks for watching, and see you next time.